94, and Dave Blaney, car number 110 on the front row. Second row, it's David Steele and Kenny Irwin Jr. Kevin Doty carrying the in-car, and Jim Keeker in row 3. Fourth row, it's Mike Bliss and Chuck Gurney. In the fifth row, Jack Hewitt, flanked by Frankie Kerr. Row 6, Sammy Swindell, car 6, and Ryan Newman in 39. Seventh row, Russ Gamester and Wally Pankratz. In the eighth row, it's Chuck Leary and Pat Abel. Ninth row, Johnny Parsons and Eric Gordon. Row number 10, Jim Mahoney and Johnny Heidenreich. His car is moving, by the way. Bill Bowie and Chet Phillips start back in row number 11. These guys up from the last chance races. Jackie Burke and Dave Darlin make up row number 12. And then 13th row, Kenneth Nichols and Tony Elliott. Row number 14, Chip Thomas and Bentley Warren. And the 15th row, Jimmy Sills and Bill Rose. Jimmy Sills, carrying another in-car camera, has a long way to go.
It is going to be a long way from way back there. This is the first time they've ever started 30 cars at this racetrack. It's always been 24 previously, so it's going to be a long, long way to start from that back row. John Heidenreich, who had to be push-started, will have to drop to the tail of the field.
100 laps of racing to go. What about pit stops? Is that a necessity here with tire wear the way it is?
Well, it's not going to be a necessity, but some of the teams have talked about making a pit stop somewhere between lap 45 and lap 65 if the yellow comes out. The yellows do count, so you have to have a yellow. But if you're running, the guys I talked to, if you're running 10th or 12th and on the lead lap, you might be able to come in, make a pit stop, and make enough an advantage, gain enough speed to go back out and run up front. We'll see if anybody does that.
Johnny Parsons qualified for his 12th Indianapolis 500 today. And what does he do to celebrate? He comes to IRP and runs his Silver Crown car. I like him.
This guy's a racer, and I'll tell you what, he was so happy. He and Kitty were really all smiles today. And I'll tell you, after 10 years of missing that thing and all the heartaches he's had, I had to be real happy. It brought tears to my eyes when I saw him. I'll have to say that.
JP did a great job out there today. You know, that car was really tore up when they crashed it the last weekend, and I know those guys were searching all week trying to find parts, scrounging parts together. You know, they did a terrific job.
And he didn't have very many laps after they got it fixed, did he?
He only had, I bet, a dozen laps in the whole thing after they got it fixed. So, you know, he went out there not really knowing what was underneath him. You know, it was a great effort.
It's nice to see the IRL giving the young drivers a chance to run at the Indianapolis 500, but it's also resulted in guys like Johnny Parsons and Danny and Gaius coming back to take one more shot at it. So we're real excited about JP being in the starting lineup for the 80th 500-mile race. The pace car pulls off the racetrack, and we are just about set to go racing for 100 laps. Robbie Flock in car number 94, the black car, is on the pole. Dave Blaney alongside in car number 110. The field comes off corner number 4. Johnny Rutherford looks him over. The green flag waves, and we are underway.
Flock and Blaney, big mix-up back there in the back. It looked like Swindell didn't get a very good start. 2 or 3 cars got around him on that start.
That is indeed the case. Sammy Swindell with a miserable start, losing positions right and left. Up front, it is Robbie Flock that has gathered in the lead from Dave Blaney as they come around to complete lap number 1.
Yeah, Flock did a great job because Blaney didn't want to let him have that spot, but he beat him into the corner, and he's going to lead the first lap.
Mike Bliss, car number 69, running in 7th position, trying to take over 5th. Now back up front, and there's the Sammy Swindell there in number 6 on the right of your screen. He's trying to move back up after a terrible, terrible start. Now we're back up front with Mike Bliss in car number 69 and Doty in 25, and just ahead is the 20 car, and that, of course, is Jim Keeker.
Yes, and those 2 yellow cars are the 2 we were talking about that were V6s last year. They put V8s in them. Glenn Nyman said he's got 150 more horsepower than he's ever had here, and he hoped it helped him, and it looks like it has done a pretty good job.
Looking back from Kevin Doty on Mike Bliss as he goes to the low side in turn number 2. Cannot make the pass, however, and this battle rages on. This is for 5th, 6th, and 7th position.
He moves down under Keeker, gets a little bit sideways, and when he gets sideways, look at Bliss. He was just looking for that opportunity to go to the outside, and he gains his spot. Mike Bliss is very experienced. You give him an opening like that, and he's going to take it on this racetrack.
Mike Bliss looks very good right now. I think he's going to be right up front here very shortly.
We go back into the field and catch some of the other action. And now we are on top of the Kevin Doty car. That's Mike Bliss of it.
Yeah, you can see right there that Doty is falling back 2 or 3 car lengths. You get an excellent view of what Mike Bliss is trying to do. He's following Keeker through the corner. Couldn't get under there. He's going to fall back up behind him. See if he can get under him going through down here in 3 and 4. Again, no room, so he just has to follow him through that corner.
Back up front, meanwhile, it is Robbie Flock leading, followed by Dave Blaney. And in third position is Kenny Irwin Jr. Is it David Steele? It is Irwin. Irwin is running in third. That's a good battle up front.
Kenny Irwin looks very good in that Him-and-Out Clowning car. He looks real fast right at this point. Swindell, who started 11th, fell clear back to 20th. He's gained a lap, or 1 spot, back up to 19th. So he had a big problem, lost 10 spots on that start.
What could that have been there at the start, Billy? Any idea?
You know, it's hard to say. You know, maybe the engine might have been, it's probably happened that the engine was probably loaded up a little bit. You know, that Ralph Butter V8 they were stealth. And we got a pass for the lead.
Man, oh man, did you see that? Mike Bliss went in there. He gave old Keeker a big old slide job, slid way up to the fence. Keeker said no thanks, went right back around him coming off the corner.
Well, it wasn't for the lead, but it was for 5th position. And Mike Bliss and Keeker put on quite a show there in the 3rd and 4th corners. It looks like Bliss's car is bottoming out there going into 3. I don't know whether it is in 1 and 2 or not, but it is in turn 3.
He's got a lot of fuel. There's a big fuel load in these cars at the beginning of the race. He's obviously running that race car very low. So when he does that, you know, it's going to bottom a little bit. As the fuel load goes away, you won't see so much of that bottoming out.
Up front, once again, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd right here. Flock leads Blaney and Irwin around, completing lap number 10. 90 laps to go.
Flock looks like he might be a little bit loose coming off the corner, and that could really hurt him here down the road when he starts wearing on that right rear tire, and as that fuel load goes away, you know, the car's probably going to try to get a little bit looser yet, so he'll be one to watch if the race wears on.
That's exactly right. If you start this race loose, as the race wears on, the fuel load goes away. It does nothing but get looser and looser, and usually you burn up a tire. So if he's already loose, you're right. He could be big trouble later on.
Eric Gordon has been black flagged by the USAC officials. We don't know exactly why, but the black flag has come out for Eric Gordon. The CarQuest cage cam shot giving us a good view of this battle as Kevin Doty has traffic in front of him, including Mike Bliss and Jim Keeker. We have completed 12 laps here at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Coca-Cola 100 for the USAC Silver Crown Division. It's Flock, Blaney, Irwin, Steele, and Keeker. We'll be right back. Closing laps of the Coca-Cola 100 here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. There is Mike Bliss, the 3rd place car, weaving his way around the traffic. And there is Kevin Doty running alongside of Sammy Swindell and Jack Hewitt.
And Kevin Doty has moved his way up. Now he's in, what, 4th position and gaining on these top 3 guys. He's the guy that's really gained the most ground in the last few laps, but the laps are running out.
You can really tell these guys are starting to run out of tires. The race cars look like they're kind of all over the racetrack. They're, you know, wandering around all over the place. These cars are getting really greasy here at the end.
Now, we didn't see anybody make any stops. Like we said, there were no yellow flags right at the right time, so nobody came in for tires. So the tires are going to be pretty worn out and pretty slick at this point of the race.
Kevin Doty working his way up to 4th position. He started in 5th on the inside of row number 3, and the CarQuest cage cam shows Sammy Swindell up ahead.
In front of him is Dave Darland. Those 2 guys both being lapped right now. Swindell's actually made a pit stop. He's lost several laps, so he's out there just trying to hang on and finish the race. But it's Doty right now that really drastically needs to get around these guys and just can't do it right now.
It's been a bad evening for Sammy Swindell. At the drop of the green flag, the car dropped back several positions. Then later he came in for a pit stop, and Sammy not among the contenders here at IRP tonight.
Doty, of course, not a lot of pavement experience for him either, and I think right now that's kind of hurting him. He can't quite figure out where he should go when these 2 guys are running side by side. Of course, I'm not sure anybody can figure out where to go when guys are running side by side.
That's a losing battle right there when those guys are running side by side like that. Hopefully he can squeeze by here on the outside of Sammy and then get Dave down here on the inside.
Well, he's cleared Swindell and now concentrates on Dave Darland in the blue number 56.
Irwin out front, he's pulled out some pretty good lead. He looks really comfortable.
Oh, he had to do a little dirt tracking there, huh? Here's a car going slowly down the main straightaway. It's Ryan Newman in the 39 car. Do you have a flat tire, did I see?
I could just see some smoke. I couldn't tell exactly what happened. The battle for second has heated up, and Bliss has actually gone around Dave Blaney. As we were watching back with Doty, Bliss got around Dave Blaney and has moved into second spot.
And there he is.
Oh, and he got real sideways just as he went into that corner.
He knows he only has 6 laps left, and he is really working hard to try to catch Kenny Irwin.
So there is Bliss in second position now, and behind him is Dave Blaney, but the lead is still being held by Kenny Irwin, and right now it is a rather substantial lead, about a half a straightaway advantage for Kenny Irwin, so things are going to have to go pretty much drastically wrong here in the last 4.5 laps if Mike Bliss is going to catch him.
Well, Kenny Irwin got out to a big lead there as they were in that traffic earlier, and he just steadily pulled away after that. Once they lost contact with him, he just seemed to pull away easily. And you're right, it's going to take a... Oh, look at Bliss. You think he's not trying? You think he's giving up yet? Think again, boys.
Now is the time to use up the tires because the laps are just about over.
And use up the track and use up everything else out there the way he's driving.
Kenny Irwin needs to be very careful now as he comes up on these 3-lap cars because, you know, right now this race is in his hand, and lap traffic is always a real concern here at the end.
Yeah, it is his race to lose right now and not Bliss's to win, because with less than 3 laps to go, Irwin simply has to be careful going through the lap traffic, making sure that nothing bad happens up in front of him.
And we saw Danny Dryden last week spin on the last lap trying to deal with lap traffic. So it is not very difficult to make a mistake when you've got guys that are running this fast. These guys are running fast. These guys are running in 7th position. Keeker's running in 7th, so they've lapped everybody up to 7th position. So these guys are quick guys, not easy guys to lap. And this could, well, Bliss is catching him. Bliss has caught up a half a straightaway in the last 2 or 3 laps.
Catching him, but I think he's going to run out of time. You know, this traffic's really holding up Kenny, but I think Mike's going to run out of time.
There's the white flag. 1 more lap to go. The 7 car ahead of Kenny Irwin is Johnny Parsons. Let's see what Irwin does here on the last lap. If he's going to be content to just stay where he is. Oh, a car.
Gurney got all sideways or got something happen up there. He slowed way down, and look at this. Bliss is on the outside of it. He's got a chance to win this race.
He's going to make a race out of it. They come down to the line.
Oh, my gosh, they went through there side by side.
I think Bliss won. And they both recover. They have to take the escape road down in the turn 1 where the old road course was. They both saved their cars, but an incredible finish here at IRP. We're going to have to see the replay to decide who won that, but I think Mike Bliss is going to come out the winner.
Bliss never gave up. He's never said... You know, he went after him from every second of this race, right down to the last second. He was a quarter of a straightaway behind going into that last corner. When all that gaggle of cars going all mixed up, he went right after. Man, oh, man.
It was just as we said. He got tangled up in that slower traffic, and it was his race to lose, and by golly, he did.
Boy,
Kenny got conservative there at the end, and...
Look at this.
Look at that. Kenny pulled right down into him, trying to keep him going around, and it just wasn't quite enough. A wheel, less than a wheel.
Mike Bliss just stuck his right front right there in front of Kenny Irwin.
Here's another look from our camera down in turn number 1. They come off the corner, they bump, they touch, and they cross the line almost together, but because Irwin's car was sideways, Bliss actually crossed the line ahead of him.
How those guys kept from getting upside down, both of them, I'll never know, because you can't stick a wheel in a guy like that going down a straightaway without causing some kind of a disaster, can you, Billy?
Not usually. They were both pretty lucky there at the end. They did a great job.
How about that, race fans? Just when you thought it was going to be an easy 3-4 laps for Kenny Irwin, he encounters traffic, and Mike Bliss comes away the winner.
Somebody tell Mike Bliss these things don't have fenders. You can't do that stuff.
The truck driver has disregarded the fact that there are no fenders on these Silver Crown cars and has gone to victory lane. That was the only lap that he led, but it was the most important one. Mike Bliss and Kenny Irwin Jr. crossed the line right together, but it's Bliss winning the Coca-Cola 100. We'll be back to talk with him.